Oh, and welcome to Full Body Chills. If you're new here, this time, definitely here to give you chills. Okay, so again, if you're new here and you don't know what this basically, this is a live stream. A couple of scary stories found on the internet or sent in by my viewers. I mean, we also kind of guessed if it was whether it was true or not, but this time I go on subreddit No Sleep and I pick up stories that are sound injury. Oh, is it cutting out? What? Oh. What is up with my voice? What's up? What's up? Oh no, your voice. What? Wait, what's happening with my voice? Did not change the settings. Know if it's cutting out off, but I don't think so. Like could be, can be. Let me see. Oh, it's cutting out. Up. Let me try to like readjust the microphone. Okay. Let me know. How is it now? Again, microphone issues? God damn. I seriously don't know because it was fine. It's caffeinating. What? Wait. Okay. Yeah, let me know if it's like, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, I should probably turn it off and on. Wait, okay. Actually, let me try something else. I'm gonna disappear for a moment. Sorry. What? Okay. How's this? Is it? Oh, also, Thick Anime Thighs just donated. Hello, new to your channel. Have you heard of Missing 411? I have not, or I might have, but I did not. Oh, where's my VTuber model? Just disappeared. I think I've heard the name, but I haven't read about it yet. So I have to get to that. Thank you so much for your donation, by the way. Okay, let me know if the microphone is now. It's if it's better, if it's worse. I don't know. It should be much better now. So, let me know if now you can hear it clearly. Okay, so as I was saying, missing persons. Oh, okay. Then music is creepy. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's no, it's bloody chills. So all about scary stories, all about scary stuff. Also, just so you know, because it's a live stream, I've been getting some complaints, so I'm gonna address them. Because it's a live stream, ain't nobody gonna read it in a very smooth way. There's gonna be stuttering, there's gonna be, I don't know, interruptions in the story. If you're not into that, the door is right here, get out. If you don't like my accent, yet again, the door is right here, get the fuck out. Seriously, I got a comment where someone said like, oh, I clicked, I had to stop the video because of your accent and the stuttering. And it was like another Full Body Chills episode. I know I'm being like petty by talking about it on stream, but honestly, I don't give a shit. I was very nice in the comment, but since I'm addressing it now, right now, hey, try reading a story in your second language. And let's see how smoothly that's gonna go. People complaining? Well, no, it was just this one person, and honestly, who doesn't like your accent? I know, right? Like, who the fuck doesn't? Someone who really should, you know, rethink their life choice. I don't know. Blasphemous. You tell them. Yeah, like, honestly, I'm very nice in the comments. Like, usually I reply with, like, hey, it's okay, you know, that's fine. Go find creators that resonate with you more. But this one pissed me off, so I'm like, I'm just gonna reply to that. Yeah, like, whoever the fuck that was, because I don't remember the username. Hey, it's fine. Or whoever there is that, you know, if someone tunes in and you don't like my accent, you don't like the fact that I might stutter a little bit in my story or like break up words or mispronounce words, the door is right here, get out. And we don't want you here. Who doesn't like accents? If anyone does complain while here, you will immediately be removed. Seriously, yes. No, I mean, I'm okay with constructive criticism, but like, if someone says, hey, I don't like your accent, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? Also, do you speak 3 languages? 4, 3.5? If you don't speak more than 1, or, you know, you've never read something in like second language, then shut the fuck up. Sit your ass down. I enjoy accents in general. Well, I mean, okay, nothing wrong with not speaking more languages, but like, if you complain about someone else's non-native language, then it's like, come on now, come on. Yeah, this is, okay, that's the end of my complaint about rude people. It's okay. Alrighty. Without further ado, if my microphone now is much better, you guys can let me know if it's still breaking up, if it's still like weird, but I don't think so. It should be fine now. Your accent is fine. Thank you. See, everyone knows. I enjoy accents. Okay, Sona's accent is great. See, yeah, you guys know it. You guys know it. I love my accent. I know it's not perfect. I don't give a shit. Fine. It's a mix of like Polish, British, like, you know, American English, whatever. Sometimes Australian. Sometimes people would ask me, are you from Australia or like Scotland? I'm like, no. I'm a mix of everything. It's not like you can't understand what she is saying. Right? I mean, I don't know. Like, if you didn't understand, yeah, if I was like to the point of people not understanding what I'm saying, yeah, then sure, that's absolutely a valid excuse, but valid criticism. But like, okay, because we spent like 12 minutes on, you know, it's been 12 minutes of me just complaining about this one person. But I am petty. I am the, you know, I'm the king of pettiness. So you're on my petty list. Yeah. I know I shouldn't be getting to it, like, you know, I shouldn't let it get to me, but I just, you know, since I'm petty, I just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna address it. Alright. Okay, so, ooh, like campfire stories to tell in the dark. Nice, think I'll use. Alrighty, so, as I was saying, this stream is all about me reading scary stories found on the internet and sent in by my followers. So, this time, in this episode, we have a couple of stories. Namely, I think 6 stories, about forest. Scary that you may find in a forest. Let's get story number 1. I'm sorry. I keep saying this. I keep saying it out loud and then typing it like it means something. I am so fucking sorry. Before I write this, I want you to know I am currently sleep deprived. I didn't sleep at all last night, so nothing new. I'm sleep deprived all the time. You're not special. I didn't sleep at all last night, and I'm trying to write all this down before I go and see someone. I'm not sure who the someone is going to be. Maybe a friend, or my parents, fucking psychiatrist. I don't know. Hopefully you will know what to do. I don't want to pile all of this on you. I just don't know what to do myself. I've thought about it and tried to come up with some kind of solution, or maybe a way to prove that I'm fucking crazy and imagined all of this. I've been trying to figure out where I would put it. But again, I don't know. Fuck. I don't even know why I'm writing this. Nobody is going to believe me, and on this sub full of freakish encounters, I think this counts as one. I guess I should start by saying I already suffer from insomnia. And you're not special. Everyone suffers from it. I tried listening to podcasts, white noise, and even whale noises. Oh, I haven't tried that one. According to pretty much every article on insomnia I can find, there's supposed to be a solution. Well, they're not the solution. If anything, they make it harder for me to sleep. So I tried podcasts, but the talking just distracts me from sleeping and I end up paying attention to whatever is being said. White noise gives me headache, and playing Netflix on low sentences me to night-long binges of reality TV shows. I've done that. That's me. That's a comment from me. Nothing was working. I go on YouTube a lot. I watch videos before and after work and during meals, so it's pretty much my substitute. Like every other person my age, I guess. I watch a variety of things, whether that's movie reviews, cooking videos, or introspective video essays about everything from Sailor Moon to Gossip Girl. It was during my endless scrolling when I came across Rainy Day in Osaka, Japan. No talking. Curious, I clicked on it. I had always been curious about Japan. I have friends who want to move there purely for the food, the culture, and I take a Duolingo class. It seems like a beautiful country, and the video showed me exactly what it said in the title, a real-life perspective of walking through Osaka. After sitting through that one, I found myself clicking on more. There was night and day, nightlife, and rush hour. I got sucked in. I wanted to know the lives of everyone who walked past the camera. Every glance, whether that was a man, woman, or a child. I found it fascinating that I could be in my bedroom in the middle of the night, huddled under my blankets with my headphones on, and with the click of a button, I was on the other side of the world, sidestepping an old woman holding an umbrella or a dog walker casting a smile my way under blooming cherry blossom. I admit, I got addicted. Not just because they were fun and therapeutic to watch, but they also sent me to sleep. These videos were a blessing. Last night was the usual. I curled up in bed and set up my laptop on my cupboard. I wanted something different, so I typed in Japan and ASMR, and a dozen videos popped up. Most of them were at 1 million views and were either vloggers or stream. But one video caught my eye. It was right at the bottom and was sitting at just over 1,000 views. The thumbnail was a 1080p quality image of looming trees and darkness swallowing up whatever was in the distance. I recognized the name in the title. Until then, I had been avoiding videos featuring the infamous Japanese suicide forest. The videos I have watched are either incredibly insensitive influencers trying to make a scare for content, or serious-looking docuseries following the history. This video looked like the youth. The title was in both Japanese and English. Walking through Aokigahara forest at night, no talking or D. And after hesitating for a moment, I decided to click on it and see what it was. The video, to my surprise, was almost 2.5 years old. It was uploaded on February 9th, 2020. It had 2 likes, and the dislikes were hidden. I'm looking at you, YouTube. Taking away dislikes. I clicked play and watched for a while. The video started with a point of view shot of a small apartment with cream walls and rustic furniture. The cameraman showed himself putting on his shoes and then his jacket and locking his door. The video jumped, then to him getting out of his car and showing the parking lot in front of Aokigahara. It was perfect quality. I lay back and got comfy, satisfied with the crunching sounds of his boots on gravel. And then the thump, thump, thump of him walking up wooden steps. Did an immaculate job of showing everything. I saw every moment in the trees and on the ground, skittering insects, soil. The sound quality was good too. I was listening to night, and the night sounded beautiful, so peaceful. As the video trail began, and the man's breaths grew heavy walking, I started to drift to sleep, lulled by the soft crunch of his shoes through the terrain. The shot itself was well lit with a flashlight, illuminating an eerie pathway, tangled branches which almost looked like they were coming out of the screen when he got close enough to one. At one point, I had to blink rapidly to make sure he hadn't shoved the camera into a tree, because of the maze of branches entangled, dancing in the dark. Aokigahara had always been at the pit of scary stories my friends told around the campfire, or legends and myths, detailing a supernatural goings-on, as well as the very real, tragic suicides the forest has become infamous for. Oh, is it still cutting out? Maybe I should just... Huh. Okay. Okay, I'm breaking the I'm breaking the atmosphere, but not gonna lie, Sona's hair looks like candy from Japan. What the fuck? You guys have to let me know, like, if it's... I don't know, why is it cutting up? Like, it was so good. It was so good in the previous video, I have no idea. And if I'm sorry if I'm breaking the you know, anticlimactic, but if my microphone is cutting off, sound good. Okay. All right. So let's get back to the story. Aokigahara had always been at the pit of scary stories my friends told around the campfire, or legends and myths telling supernatural goings-on, as well as the very real, tragic suicides the forest has become infamous for. However, all I saw was beauty. I saw night in all of its vulnerability, allowing me access to every crevice of this tragically beautiful forest. At first, I couldn't fall asleep. I was slipping initially, but I kept getting intrigued by the sudden snapping of branches and crunching growing louder. Like, there was someone behind the camera. Well, the cameraman, but okay. Who am I to judge? Oh my god, Aaron. Oh my god. Speaking of your hair, do you have dead mom hair? Everyone is saying that. Oh my god, I have to change. Everyone, yes, I have the dead mom hair from Full Metal Alchemist. I know. Anyway. Okay, so when he reached a sign zooming in on what looked like instructions detailed in hiragana and katakana, I heard something. It wasn't the man's shoes because it wasn't moving. Before I could really think about it though, I turned and continued on the trail. But he hadn't gone far before the same noise. Footsteps. They were in the trees, at least 3 sets of them. The guy didn't seem to notice, and nothing else happened for a proportion of the video. I closed my eyes once again. For a while, I was drifting in and out, occasionally slipping back to consciousness to see nothing had changed. I was getting used to the sound of the man's footsteps before a void. It came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. And in the middle of Aokigahara at night, knowing nobody else would be walking in this trail, my interest was piqued. The voice was a low murmur at first, more of a whisper in the trees, easily mistaken for a breeze. Then, though, it was breaking the sound barrier, as well as the tranquil silence of the night. A shiver crept down my spine. The voice didn't belong. It didn't make sense that it existed right there in the middle of nowhere. But it did. It was real. Excuse me. The voice was a guy. My age. Or maybe a little younger. Had an accent. British. Very British. Mate, do you mind giving us a little help? I should imitate the British accent, but I cannot. I'm very much unqualified. Okay, mate, do you mind giving us a little help? His words lingered in my mind for far too long. Us? There were 4 of them? I stared at the screen and waited for someone to appear matching the voice, but there was nobody there. The cameraman didn't seem to notice, continuing on the trail. Hey, look, I don't speak a lot of Japanese, and there was incoherent mumbling. Also, it's my 3rd time here, and I know I should be practically fluent by now, but I'm not. The voice seemed to be lost in the trees, in wounded branches and bush. His voice was getting louder and louder, though, until I couldn't deny its existence. And a shadow suddenly bound out of the trees and stepped into the glow of the flashlight. At first, there was no discernible identity. The camera focused on a face lit up in saturation before slowly a person bled through the blur. It was a guy. Just a guy. I don't know how to describe him. He had dark hair, poking under a bright green hooded sweatshirt and freckles. He looked out of breath, but flashed the camera a friendly smile. "Oh, cool. What are you filming?" The camera guy ignored him to my surprise. So he stepped in front of the camera, offering a shy wave. "Hi," he said. "Look, I don't really know how we got here, honestly." He laughed nervously. Japan is kinda crazy, right? You're standing outside a bar 1 minute and then you're trekking through a forest. Once again, he was ignored, and I could tell he was growing frustrated. But his smile only prickled wider. Anyway, staying in shot, the guy cleared his throat. "We don't know a lot of Japanese between us, and we were wondering if you speak English. And if you do, that would be incredibly helpful because reading the signs in this fucking forest is driving us crazy and we're extremely lost. And hey, even I was getting irritated with the camera guy's ignorance. I understood language barriers, but surely he understood at least part of what the foreigner was saying." "Okay," Freckles blew out of breath. "You don't understand what I'm saying, but if you could just stop for a moment. We're lost and we could really do with some help. Like, seriously, we don't even know how we got here," and staggered back when the cameraman took a turn further into the tree. But the kid wasn't giving up, I noticed. Followed, motioning for two shadows I could glimpse at the corner of the camera to follow. I started to wonder if the cameraman was scared of the foreigners, or if he just didn't speak English. There was that, but there was also the possibility that he just didn't want to talk to him. Freckles did everything to try and get noticed, and failed miserably every time. It was kind of entertaining. "Noah," another voice sounded, this time American. Excuse me, how do you can you recognize it if someone just says the name Noah? Can you recognize immediately that it's American English or okay, I mean, who am I to judge? Actually, who am I to judge? I don't know. Maybe I'm I'm an idiot. I probably can't discern the accent. This is some superpower. Okay, so I detected a southern accent in a tone which sounded far less chipper than Freckles. "Stop." Another man appeared seemingly out of nowhere, joining Noah's side. He was taller, a dark-skinned complexion, wearing a t-shirt with "Not safe for work" art on the front. "He's not going to help us," he said with gritted teeth. "Think about it. He's a guy just casually cruising a forest in the middle of the night. And we're random strangers. Of course he's going to be wary." The young man elbowed Noah. "Besides, we haven't tried my tactic yet." Noah rolled his eyes. In the exposure of the flashlight's glare, I counted 4 freckles on each cheek. "Oh, Jesus," he groaned. "You're going to get us arrested." "So? Isn't getting arrested better than being stuck in a cursed forest?" "It's not cursed." "Then why are we stuck, huh? I've seen the same tree 6 times. "That's an exaggeration." You're an exaggeration. Your mom's an exaggeration. Oh my god. What is this conversation? Oh, and Maisie had to go. I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you so much, Maisie, for tuning in today. Alrighty, so let me continue with this very, you know, very eloquent conversation, argument. So both of them scoffed and started laughing, and I found myself enjoying their stupid back and forth. As their back and forth continued, the two followed the cameraman, occasionally diving in front of the camera. Okay, so not safe for work guy joined the camera guy's side. Do you have a phone? He attempted broken Japanese. Oh. I guess, should I? Nah, it's okay. He attempted broken Japanese, and his effort was pretty good. Even if I couldn't understand what he was saying, I think he was asking if the guy had a phone or something they could call for help with. He tried his best, but apparently it wasn't enough. At that point, I was used to the cameraman's response. Complete ignorance. He kept walking. His breaths labored. I noticed the man was heading deeper and deeper into the trees. I was sure hikers usually turned around at some point, but this guy's destination was anyone's guess. A third guy came into view a little while later, when I noticed a dip in the ground, far rockier and harder to walk on. But he was more subdued and kept to himself, only offering quiet laughs at Noah and not safe for work. The mood, however, grew progressively sourer as their footsteps fell in sync with the cameraman. Every so often, Noah would start whistling, and then planting himself in front of the cameraman. I could tell by the crease in his expression and the scowl in his lips, he was through playing around. Looking closer, and then pausing the video, I could almost mistake a look of feral desperation in his eyes. He really wanted out of there. Mate, he said, probably for the third time. This is getting ridiculous. Choked out a laugh as the three of them followed the cameraman, their frenzied footsteps crunching through the earth. I mean, where the hell are you even going? Hey, chill, the soft-spoken guy finally spoke in murmur. Poor guy's probably trying to get away from us. Noah made a noise of protest, tripping over a branch. What does he expect? Pissed. He's completely fucking ignoring us. And what, filming some YouTube video? Is making movies really that important for this guy? Come on, this is so fucking stupid. The guy cursed when he fell back, regaining his balance at the last minute. He's like 50, he grumbled, falling in step with the other two. What does he even need it for? Hey there! Whoa there, how about you fuck off? Mind your own business. The three of them continued like that for a while. They argued for and against attempting to grab the guy's phone, but they ended up just following the cameraman, hoping he would at some point acknowledge them. I understood they were lost and needed help, but part of me was screaming at them to just turn around and attempt to figure it out themselves. This guy just didn't give a fuck and clearly was on a mission they had no business joining. I realized that when they stepped through a small clearing, following the camera guy, there was something hidden in the trees. And the closer the camera got, I realized I was staring at a small wooden cabin. It looked homemade and was dainty enough to be hidden in the trees, far away from the trail. When the cameraman stopped for a moment, surveying a door made of planks, the three guys seemed to come to an abrupt stop. In the eerie glow of the flashlight, a wave of emotions washed over Noah's expression, though I couldn't catch a single one. His eyes, which until then had been almost permanently rolling in frustration as he spat sarcasm at the others, dark, hollow. It was the kind of darkness I didn't know or understand. Not the darkness enveloping the forest and sky. More of an endless stretch of oblivion which was inescapable. But as fast as it had come, the hollowness faded, and he shook his head. Noah pursed his lips and stepped back with a laugh. "Nope," he said. "Yeah, no, I'm not going in there." Walked over to the door and pulled off a cheap-looking sign which said, "Home Sweet Home." Noah rolled his eyes. "I'm not a fucking idiot. This shit is in the middle of nowhere." He waved the sign. "Yeah, this guy's definitely got skeletons in his closet." "Agreed. Not safe for work," muttered. His gaze was stuck to the door, his lips twitching. We should probably get going." The third guy didn't speak, and I could barely see him, just a glimmer of dark hair and baseball cap behind Noah. I watched him take several steps back, before gesturing to the others to follow. "There's nothing here," he finally said stiffly. Another American. "We should go." I could sense the panic in his voice. "Now." Noah laughed. "Well, duh. That's why we're going. Lighten up, would ya?" "Lighten up, would ya?" The third guy sighed. Oh, I love this word. The third guy sighed. "I will lighten up when we're far away from here." Noah saluted the cameraman. Thanks for nothing, dude. You really helped. Good luck with your YouTube career." Not safe for work scoffed. "Could have just told us to fuck off, but sure." The two of them fell in line with the third guy. "What do you think he's doing out there?" "Don't know. Definitely shady." The three of them disappeared into the trees, and all I heard was their back and forth and laughter before a sharp breeze drowned them out completely. Now that he was alone, the cameraman headed into the cabin. It looked as cozy as a cabin in the middle of the woods can look. Yeah, cabin in the woods, horror movie. Cottage in the forest, oh yeah, nice vacation. That's my comment. There was a threaded couch and a rug, and a small closet where he kicked off his shoes and pulled off his jacket, throwing them inside. Before he shut the door, I caught something. And the taco I had before crawled right back up my throat. Thinking rapidly, I paused the video and then I leaned in and squinted so I was making sure what I was seeing was really there. It was. I mean, I looked at it from every angle. I paused and played the video until I was absolutely certain. Underneath all the men's coats and hats and shoes was the not safe for work sweater. He knew it was the same one. Because the camera quality gave me the luxury. I noticed when he was wearing it. There was a slight tear at the bottom. I was staring at the exact same one. But that wasn't all. When I really looked, when I dragged the video forwards and backwards, I was seeing Converse cake Converse caked in dirt, a baseball cap, a bright green hoodie. When I sat back, the world swam around me. I could have turned it off. I could have shut my laptop, gotten under my blankets, and forced myself to sleep. But I didn't. I pressed play, and the cameraman headed into the tiny living area he had made himself before kneeling on the ground, taking the camera with him. His fingers gripped at worn wooden planks and ripped them away, revealing a hole in the ground. And in that hole, stick? I paused it again. The hole was filled with plastic bags. Oh hell no! When I played it, however, and he started pulling them out, revealing what was really there, my heart sank into my gut and my mouth filled with something acidic. Something strong enough to trigger my gag reflex. I was seeing expensive leather combined with iPhones and passports. The man surprised me by finally making a noise. A sharp squeak and of hysteric rolling off his tongue in panting guffaws. I don't even know what that is. It was the sound of an animal before a meal. Oh, what the fuck? A ravenous growl. As he gasped hold of the pile As he grasped hold of the pile of belongings, dipping his fingers in them and pulling them out, his laughter growing more and more horrifying. There was a point when I closed my laptop and buried my head in my knees. It's not real, I kept thinking. It's not real. It's not real. But no matter how many times I lied to myself, I knew that what I was watching was reality. I couldn't help it. Now that I had seen traces of the truth, I wanted to know more. I wanted to know this man's filthy secret. The video followed on as normal, with him sitting down and taking out a flask before swigging it. He started laughing again, and he didn't stop until his flask was empty. I waited for him to do something else, but the video jumped. It was bad editing. An attempt at stitching footage together. This time, I wasn't looking at his cabin in the middle of Aokigahara. I was in the same apartment the video had started in. Something ice cold slid down my spine when I recognized Noah, not safe for work, and the nameless third friend sitting around a wooden table strewn with bottles of sake. The three of them were clearly drunk, but also bewildered and confused why they were even there. I had heard about these kinds of scams. First, being lured into cult-like groups, only to be scammed of all of their cash. This, though, looked more personal. Like they were visiting the man. They looked out of place. 3 foreigners inside a quiet shoebox apartment. The third friend had glitter on his cheek from what seemed like a night out, and not safe for work had a bath towel on his head. Noah was frowning at something on the table. I recognized it. What is this? Noah picked up some sign with "Home Sweet Home" in colorful italics. He turned the face to the others, his lips curling into a smile. Hey, so when I turn 25, will I automatically just start to like these? Waved the sign mockingly. No, the third guy said, for a mouthful of drink. Thought Noah as spiteful. How do you talk with a drink? Mouthful of drink. Okay then. I don't know. I'm just wondering about the details. You would think it's insignificant, and yet it's breaking the immersion. Okay, so the third guy sat through a mouthful of drink. Shot Noah a spiteful smile. You're a Gen Z. You will never change. Good. Noah dropped the sign. Good. Noah dropped the sign. I would rather die than live. Laugh, love. Oh, live, laugh, love. Fuck. Not safe for work's head hit the table. I'm gonna be sick. Noah jumped up, grabbing a bottle of sake and downing it like water. Oh yeah, don't do that. Sake is like so dangerous. Like it's not strong. That's the thing. It's not strong, but that's when you drink a lot of it and you don't realize like when you're fucking hammered. Talking while drinking. Yeah. Breaking the immersion. I know I'm breaking it myself, but like details. Don't make it not make sense. But I winced when he pulled a face like he had sucked a lemon. We're gonna get going, he announced, desperately trying not to slur his words. We're gonna get going. Not safe for work lifted his head. Are we? Yeah, if you want to get back to the hotel and not get murdered by our tour guide. Where is this story going? The cameraman sat silently filming everything, and that only made me feel sicker. When the footage jumped forwards again, the living room had a lot of color to it. Not safe for work was lying on his stomach, a knife perforating his neck, a seemingly endless stream of scarlet pooling underneath him and dripping onto the floor. This is the part I didn't fully watch, because I couldn't. The act was showed in graphic detail, over and over again, like it was meant to be shown to someone. Like this was someone's punishment. In flickering shots, only differential from the amount of blood on the couch and table, I saw Noah passed out on the sofa. His eyes opening, mouth widening, before the same knife, which had butchered Not Safe for Work, plunged into his stomach. Over and over again, like a fucking movie. The man didn't stop. Left the camera rolling until the two of them were masses of scarlet and bubbling flesh on a cream carpet. The worst thing is, I didn't see what he really did to them. I only saw pieces. I just knew they suffered. I knew that the torture was endless until they begged to die. I was shown in glimpses. Not Safe for Work kneeling over. Not Safe for Work kneeling over Noah and yelling something. His mouth open in a silent, tragic scream. I didn't hear it. He muted them. He only showed what he wanted me or anyone else to see. The soft-spoken guy bled into the footage towards the end. I don't think he knew. I think he went to the bathroom or maybe to crash somewhere. His eyes, his expression when seeing the scene in front of him will haunt me for the rest of my life. And this time, the man didn't take his time like the others too. The third friend dived over the couch and attempted to get to the other side. But the man grabbed his leg and yanked him to the ground. But he was ready, rolling onto his back and crawling, grasping at the fiber of the carpet. His hands glowing red from trying to staunch the wound in Not Safe for Work's neck, which was past saving. I don't want to type this, but I think the guy gave up. Something in him snapped. and he stopped trying to get away, only curling into a ball and attempting to shield the cameraman's frenzied hits. He missed most of them. Thank God. The psycho's momentum was fading. When he realized he wasn't going to get anywhere by stabbing, he grabbed the guy by the hair, wrenched his head back, and plunged the blade into his eye. At that point, I finally threw up what had been burning in my throat. I didn't need to watch more. I didn't have to. But I couldn't fucking stop. So what does that say about me? It was like being in a trance. The world around me didn't seem real. I lost all sense of smell and touch. It was around the same time the man filmed himself severing limbs in his bathtub when it hit me that this was for entertainment. I didn't know whose. His? Some sick bastard who had liked the video? But he had filmed, edited, and put this together for someone to watch. For someone to watch him stuff each severed limb in a blender and then pour into a flask. Holy freaking hell! Okay, this is happening. He filmed himself cleaning everything up and gathering belongings before heading into his little cabin in the forest. The man stopped at a tree before emptying the flask. And then he did it several more times, and the more I watched, I could feel my brain starting to unravel. My body finally catching up to it. Finally, the man threw their clothes inside his closet and stuffed their phones and passports under the floorboards. Started laughing again, more and more hysterically like a cartoon. Walked out into broad daylight and inhaled, and then exhaled. What is this, a workout? And I swore I could hear voices. Hey, excuse me, can you tell us where we are? We're kind of lost. Hello? Dude, I'm talking to you. You don't have to ignore us. Seriously, you're just going to walk right past— Hey! I was barely aware of the video once again jumping forwards. It was raining, and the world was lit up in dulled blues and vivid reds. The camera's point of view was an alleyway filled with stores. Crowds of people walking in groups or individually. The man stood under an umbrella. His attention was first on the ramen shop, and then a girl walking past clutching textbooks on her chest. Before it flicked to a group of people laughing and joking, some of them holding bottles. It seemed to be waiting for something. When the crowd dispersed, I glimpsed a familiar bright green hoodie. Noah, standing in the rain with his hood up, high-fiving a girl with blonde pigtails and a wide grin. The two of them were talking, and they seemed close, his head on her shoulder. The girl said something which looked like, "I'll be right back," and wandered back into the bar. And Noah leaned against the wall and tipped his head back, frowning at the sky. I already knew what the man was going to do. He did it in 3 strides, planting himself in front of Noah. He said something in Japanese, but when Noah frowned in confusion, his gaze no doubt wandering for someone to help him, the man laughed heartily. 3 drinks, he said, and then he said it repeatedly until a drunken Noah's eyes lit up with intrigue. 3 drinks? The boy's expression pricked. before the other two joined him. Not safe for work and the third friend. They had no idea, I thought. The camera lingered on Noah's face, almost like a teeth. Smiled, and the camera zoomed right into his mouth. Like this had been the punchline all along. Well, wouldn't want free drinks. After that, the video ended. Followed by text. World's funniest movie. Part 1. What the frick? Okay. Yeah, so this happened. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Sure, why not? Holy shit, I am never going to... I see, like, oh, I was close to going to this forest. Like, when I was... Because I lived in Shizuoka. Aokigahara is in Shizuoka, which is, like, to the south of Tokyo. Kind of like 2 hours from Tokyo, I guess. By train. I was going to go there. I always kind of wanted to, but now I don't want to. I'm okay. Part 1. I mean, this is like I guess the next video. Okay, so this story was called a now deleted YouTube video exists called Walking Through Aokigahara Forest at Night. No talking for D. I wasn't expecting the footage to have guests. Obviously, I made it a little bit here. I made the title a little bit shorter, but yeah, here it is, and it was posted by Trash Tia to subreddit No Sleep. Oh, that was a trip. That was quite a trip. Holy shit. Is there a part 2? Nope. This was not a link. This was just, yeah, there's no part 2. That was just one. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going there. So, you guys, let me know if there's like you know, my voice is breaking or you know, the microphone is like, you know, not working properly or something, or if it sounded okay, like in throughout the story, if I sounded okay, if you know, if my voice was disappearing for some reason, or like, you know, parts of the words were cutting off or something. I'm trying my best to like speak towards the microphone directly and just be like as loud as I can so that it's like catching it. I mean, it shouldn't be like, it should be fine because, you know, I kind of reset the microphone, so it should be fine now, but let me just... Sounded good. Oh, okay, great. Perfecto. Oh, I just realized I was behind a few minutes because of the phone call. Hey, no worries. Brian, no worries. But yeah. Wait, just some guy on his phone says, your mic sounds pretty quiet. Oh. Ah! Okay, well, I mean, this is how it's gonna be for now, and I will just like test. Oh, I'll just test it off stream. I'll just reset what settings. But what number story is this? Oh, this was the first one. That was only the first one. So we still have a couple of them to go. This is gonna be a long stream. I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, so I guess it's for some people for some reason. You guys should check your settings too. What's your favorite kind of horror? What's your favorite kind of... Something with a plot twist. Like, definitely something with a plot twist. Like, I loved... Okay, if you have seen the horror film titled Us, that's a pretty interesting concept. Like, Us, there was like... I mean, I don't know. You have to look it up. It's hard to explain. Like, I like something that has a plot twist, and overall when the concept is kind of freaky, like Bird Box or Us, or oh, there was this one movie, I don't remember what was the title. It was like this, about this writer, this author, and the main character is deaf, and she goes into this cabin to like write her book, work on her book, and then there's this guy in a white mask who taunts her, like obviously he's a serial killer or something and he wants to kill her, but she's like locked into her house and he's trying to get into house. So that was interesting, like the Twilight Zone. Yeah, like that kind of thing, like this, or anything that's kind of, yeah, like kind of freaky, kind of twisty. There's some plot twists and stuff. Hush. Oh yeah, that was the movie Hush. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. You sound better. Okay, great. Alrighty, so mean like the one author in a full body chill story who turned out to be the killer. Oh yeah, oh my god. Or the one where where the girlfriend was saying that she was the Roomba was trying to kill her, and then it turns out that the guy actually bought this Roomba killer assassin to kill her, and then he just like threw it, like, well, it can't even kill my girlfriend, like what's the point of you? Like not view. What's the point of you? Okay, let's go to story number 2. When I first got the job, I couldn't believe my luck. I was a very solitary person. I loved to read and be alone. When I saw an ad for a park ranger manning a fire tower, I just about jumped out of my skin. Working overnight at a Walmart wasn't exactly the best job in the world. There are some stories I could tell about that as well, but I applied for the job and was ecstatic that I got it. They made me do a week of training before my first shift. Most of it was dry reading and making sure I was qualified for CPR. They showed me the job's ins and outs, and then I followed in my car as we drove to the tower. In the middle of the day, it was inspiring to stare up at the underside of the tower looming above me, suspended high in the air by the metal pylons. Once I started climbing the narrow metal stairs, with hints of rust at the edges, I was somewhat less than excited. In fact, I was terrified. I don't like heights very much. Why did you apply for this job then? You knew it's in a tower. It literally said a park ranger in a tower, fire tower. How did you think that was going to go? Anyway, so it's not like I go all vertigo or anything. It's just I prefer to stay on the ground. Again, why did you apply for this job? Great life choices. Holy shit, I heard this story yesterday too. Oh, great. Okay, so you get right, you know it. You know it. I gotta. Okay. Well, this one is pretty popular, I guess. Okay, so it's not like I go all vertigo or anything. It's just I prefer to stay on the ground. Once we reached the top and pushed open the trapdoor to get onto the deck that surrounded the tower, I was doing a little better. I opened the door and led into the tower's interior. Looking around the room made me forget all about the terrible climb. It was like a small apartment. There was a small refrigerator, sink, counter, cupboards, and a small table. In the center of the room was a table with a map permanently attached to. Of course, there were windows all around. There was a 360-degree view, as you would expect for a fire tower in the middle of a state park. The view was absolutely amazing. I could see the peaks and valleys for miles in every direction. It was a photographer's dream. The other ranger explained what was expected of. We worked 24-hour shifts, so there would be times I would have to sleep, but I had to set an alarm and get up to scan for problems at least once per hour during the night. During daytime hours, I had to scan every 30 minutes. There was a radio to report any trouble and a phone in case I needed to call the fire department. In my mind, I was already drooling at the thought of getting paid to take amazing pictures and sit around reading books. The ranger told me that it was extremely important that I read the rulebook first. He asked if I had any questions and I said no. He reinforced that I could not leave the tower no matter what until I was relieved. I followed him down the narrow staircase to get my supplies from my car. He got in his truck and hesitated for a moment, as if he wanted to say something else, but then he shut the door, wished me well, and drove away. It took me 3 trips to get all my stuff up to the top. At home, it's nothing to bring a few boxes of groceries into the house. Here it became life and death. I was near the top when the box in front of me, I got so confused. Here it became life and death. I was near the top with the box in front of me when I stumbled on one of the narrow steps and nearly fell over the side. I paused for a long moment to regain my balance before continuing to the top. Okay, if you hate my video after this one, because I really suffered through this part, yeah, you can. Okay, I think it's fair. That part sucked, but so click away, go away. You don't like it, go away. Okay, so let me continue. It suddenly struck me that this job might not be the cakewalk I thought it was. I pushed that thought to the back of my mind and went for my next 2 loads. Basic supplies, books, phone chargers, camera, occupied the second and last trips. Once I was up for good, I collapsed into the chair. I was on my way to nap when I heard static on the radio. I jumped up and grabbed it. "Hello?" I said, but no one answered. I figured this was the ranger's subtle way of reminding me that it was time to do a check. By lugging 3 loads up the tiny stairs of death, I love the stairs of death part. By lugging 3 loads up the tiny stairs of death, had put a serious crimp on my fire watch time. In fact, it had been nearly an hour since the other ranger had left. I did my slow pan around the room, checking each part of the forest for smoke and seeing none. Having successfully completed my first go-around, I celebrated with a bottle of water. Well, I would be like, wine time. Coffee time. I celebrated with a bottle of water while I put the groceries away. The cupboards weren't empty, but they weren't a gourmet's delight either. Nearly a full shelf of baked beans didn't exactly thrill me. And I had the supplies that should do me for a few shifts. I sat the bread on the counter and loaded the cold cuts in the fridge. I would get some more options the next time I went shopping. By the time I finished putting things away, it was time for another check. The sun was starting to set, so I grabbed my camera and took some amazing pictures. I couldn't wait to unload them to my computer at home. Upload them to my computer at home. Unload. As I looked around the room, my eyes landed on the manual. I realized I hadn't read it yet. I took it over to the chair. I was sure it would have me out cold in no time. As I opened the book, a piece of notebook paper fell out. I picked it up and read. The real rules. Number 1. Never, under any circumstances, leave the fire tower until you are relieved. Number 2. Turn off all lights between the hours of 2 and 3 a.m. Number 3. If you receive a radio transmission or phone call between those hours, do not answer. Number 4. If anyone knocks on the trapdoor during those hours, tell them they will have to wait until morning. Do not open the door. Number 5. If you see a glowing object floating toward the tower, don't look at it. Cover your eyes and count to 50. When you open your eyes, it should be gone. If not, cover and count to 50 again. Number 6. If animals surround the tower, don't go down to look. Fire your flare gun into the air twice, 1 minute apart. Then lock yourself in the bathroom and hope for the best. I sat the note down and stared at it. Was this a joke? Were they having some fun with the new guy? I wasn't looking forward to getting hazed at 2 o'clock in the morning. I put the note back in the book and skimmed through the manual. It was a real snooze fest of standard rules and nonsense. For the next check, I decided to use binoculars. I was rewarded by seeing a bear and 3 deer. I pulled out my camera and took some pics, but the zoom wasn't quite as much as I needed to get some really good shots. I could still tell it was a bear, but it was a little blurry. Blurber. No, that's me. I decided to go camera shopping with my first paycheck. What's the use of having this spectacular view if I can't take good pictures of it? Soon after the sunset came the twilight. The sky lit up a brilliant orange. I took some more pictures and did my scan. I was just about to go back inside when I noticed a thin wisp of smoke in the distance. I grabbed my binoculars and tried to get a better view, but there were too many trees in the way. I pulled out my compass and got a general direction, then grabbed the radio and called the ranger on duty. I told him I had a fire and gave him the direction and general distance. He acknowledged and said he would check it out. I stayed glued to my binoculars, waiting to see the smoke lessen. Minutes seemed to each take an eternity as the smoke continued to rise. Nearly half an hour later, the radio came to life. "Hey, rookie," the ranger said. "Did you find it? Did you put it out? I still see the smoke." "Did I tell you the wrong place?" I said into the radio all in one breath. "Whoa there," he said. "Everything's fine. It was just a campfire." "A what?" "A campfire," he said. "Nothing to worry about." "A campfire," I repeated in a daze. "Yeah, you'll want to see more smoke, and it should be a lot thicker and darker before you call it in." I stood in silence, my face beet red with embarrassment. "Cheer up," Ranger said into the silence. "At least you didn't call the fire department." I looked over at the phone, knowing I was mere minutes from doing that very thing. "Yeah, thanks. Sorry about that." "Don't worry, kid," he said. "At least you erred on the side of caution instead of letting the forest burn down." I put my face in my palm and shook my head. So much for good first impression. Twilight had faded, leaving a few last a few last vestiges of light as the clouds transformed from dirty gray to black. I began to realize just how alone I was out here when the canopy of the night fully fell. Doing my checks from inside was nearly impossible. I had lights on, and every window I looked out of became a mirror of me looking back at myself. Alone in a wooden box, suspended at 100 feet above the ground, made it that much creepier. I stepped out onto the deck in the cool evening air. The total darkness was oppressive. I couldn't see anything. How was I supposed to see the smoke? I did a slow walk around the deck, looking out blindly at the trees. As my eyes adjusted, I was able to make out some shapes of the mountains and even the soft glow in the distance of the nearest town. That was small comfort, to know that things still existed out in the world and I hadn't been plunged into this cover of darkness. I finished my check and stepped back inside. After being out in the darkness, it was way too bright. I turned off the main overhead light and the light over the entrance. The room settled into a comfortable glow with enough light to see but not blind. In fact, it was a little too cozy. I felt a nap coming on. I laid down on the surprisingly comfortable cot and closed my eyes. I woke sometime later to static sounding on the radio. I reached for the radio to answer it, but something in the back of my mind told me not to. I looked at my watch and it said 2:12 a.m. I froze. Looking around the lit room, I thought about the strange rules I had read earlier. I reached up and turned off the light, plunging the room into darkness. As my eyes adjusted and I could see a few things, I looked out the window and could swear I saw someone peering in at me. Just then, I heard static on the radio. There was a voice, trying to get through, but it seemed too weak. I waited to see if they would call again. A minute later, static sounded again. Beneath it, I heard the voice. It was a little stronger this time. I could just make it out. "Help me," it said in a feeble yet insistent voice. I reached for the radio, but something made me glance at my watch first. It was 2:23 a.m. I faltered and didn't answer. Creepy rules, I thought. What if they are real? I've already broken one by having the lights on. What happens when you break the rules? I sat in silence, wanting to know the answer, but at the same time not wanting to know. The radio call came through much more clearly this time. "Help me! Can anyone hear me? I need help!" The voice sounded desperate. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. It had a strange quality that I couldn't quite place. I fought the urge to answer, not knowing if I would be fired for dereliction of duty or not. This is what I was out here for. I needed to answer, but my mind just couldn't let go of those rules. The minutes ticked by like hours. 3 more times the radio sounded out in its plea, each time sounding more desperate. I watched the time, counting the seconds, until 3. When the time finally came, I picked up the radio. "Whoever was calling for help, please state your position so I can relay help to you," I said. "Who is this?" came the answer on the radio. This is a park ranger manning a fire tower. Well, hi, park ranger. I've been on this channel all night, and yours is the first voice I've heard. That's not possible, I thought. I had several calls for help over the last hour, I said. Are you sure? Absolutely. I wrote down the time of each call. Then why didn't you answer them until now? I paused. What could I say? Because a weird list of rules told me not to? Ranger? I said hesitantly. Extenuating circumstances. Extenuating circumstances. The voice repeated as though tasting them. And what circumstances would those be? Whoever this was, they weren't going to let it go. I'm not at liberty to say. You mean like falling asleep and breaking the rules? The voice said, sounding deeper, raspier, and more menacing. I froze. I hadn't turned the lights on yet, leaving the room in eerie darkness that left me feeling very exposed. I slowly panned around, looking out the windows and remembering the earlier feeling of being watched. You can look all you want, but you won't see me, the voice said. It's after 3, I said, hoping the terror I felt wasn't evident in my voice. You have no power over me. The voice chuckled. It wasn't a pleasant sound. Normally you would be correct. However, you broke the rules. What if I didn't know about the rules? I said, grasping at straws. Nice try, but you knew that you should be safe after 3. Damn it, I thought. It picked up on that. So, what do you want? I said, fearing the answer. We're hungry, the voice said. Only now it sounded like many voices speaking at once. Come down and let us feed. My legs turned to rubber as I stumbled over to the door and stepped out onto the deck. The moon was rising half full, casting light into the darkness. I looked down and saw over a dozen large animals, surrounding the tower in a circle. And each one of them was looking up at me. Oh, hell no. Go to the bathroom, just like board it up and pray. And that's it, and hope for the best. I dove back inside and locked the door. I frantically searched for the flashlight. Once I found it, I picked up the phone to call the ranger's station. There was no dial phone. Sorry, there was no dial tone. I hung up, tried again, but still, nothing. I pulled out my cell phone, but there was no signal. I paused to clear my head. Okay, I thought. You're freaked out right now, but what's actually happened? A weirdo on the radio, some animals around the tower. This list is making you paranoid. Just then, I looked outside and there was light off in the distance that looked like an airplane. The problem was, it was heading straight towards me. It was mesmerizing. I found myself staring and— Don't stare at the light, god damn! Look away! Anyway, I found myself staring into the rapidly approaching glow until I realized it was going to ram into the tower. I found the best cover I could on the opposite side of the room and surrounded myself with as much furniture as possible. Seeing that the furnishings were sparse, that meant I dragged the chair over in front of me. I covered my eyes and hoped for the best. I may or may not have mumbled one of those "I promise I'll be good if you get me out of this" prayers. Santa, are you there? The seconds tumbled into minutes. Nothing happened. I peeked over the edge of the counter. The light was gone. God. I breathed a sigh of relief and wondered why I hadn't heard any engine sound. I decided it was because I was too busy ducking for cover. Then it hit me. I grabbed the manual and pulled out the list of rules. There it was. Rule number 5. If you see a glowing object floating towards the tower, don't look at it. Cover your eyes and count to 50. When you open your eyes, it should be gone. If not, cover and count to 50 again. I read over the rules again and realized how many had come to pass. For a long moment, I thought that maybe it was an elaborate joke. Some of the rangers yanking the rookie's chain. But there was too much I couldn't explain. The radio transmitter, the glowing light, the animals surrounding the tower. Then I realized I had broken that rule too. Yeah, motherfucker, you should have gone to the bathroom! I hadn't fired the glare gun as instructed. Oh no, never mind. Never mind. I forgot about this. I hadn't fired the glare gun as instructed. I dug through the cupboard where the emergency supplies were kept and found the gun. I grabbed 2 flares and stepped out onto the deck. As I questioned the intelligence of firing flares that could end up causing a forest fire, when I was supposed to be trying to prevent them, I heard a strange sound. I held my breath and cocked my ear for a better listen. It wasn't just one sound. It was many. I glanced over the side of the rail toward the ground and saw the animals all growling and pawing at the ground, working themselves in frenzy. I backed away and loaded the first flare, then pointed up and fired. It rose majestically, glowing blood red until gravity slowed its ascent and pulled it back to Earth. I watched closely to make sure not only that it went out, but where it landed just in case. I waited a minute and flared a second flare, watching where it landed as well. I stepped back inside and hid in the bathroom as instructed. I knew in my heart that I was safe from the animals as long as I didn't go down the steps. The radio sounded off, scaring me nearly half to death. Fire tower number 5, voice said. Have you seen your flares? I'm on my way. Are you physically injured? No, not at the moment, I said. I'll explain when you get here. Roger that. I tried to calm my nerves by thinking about what job I would apply for. Oh god. I'm sorry, I had to like stop and laugh at it because I just saw the second part of the sentence. I'm like, yeah, you should probably rethink your choices. I tried to calm my nerves by thinking about what job I would apply for next and how unfortunate it was that this one didn't work out. Yeah. Think a little, just think a little longer about what jobs you choose. I thought about what I was going to tell the not really. Just, you chose the job, you see a weird set of rules, you always follow the weird set of rules. Like, if there's like an ominous, weird, creepy sounding set of rules, just follow them. If it seems like it's gonna be something spooky, just follow the goddamn rules. Don't assume it's like hazing or something. If it's not something stupid like, oh, I'll strip naked and like take pictures of yourself. Just don't question it. Maybe don't. Anyway. So I thought about what I was going to tell the ranger when he got here. I couldn't tell him the truth. But what else could I say? There were some animals at the bottom of the tower that scared me. I honestly considered calling him back and telling him not to come when I felt heavy footsteps on the bottom stairs of the fire tower. I must have been daydreaming and let time slip by. I stepped out of the bathroom and went to the trapdoor. Are you here already? I said into the radio as I reached down to unlatch the trapdoor. That was fast. What are you talking about? Came the clear answer over the radio. I'm not there yet. I paused as I felt the footsteps come closer to the top. Where are you? I said quietly. I can barely see the tower. I'm probably a mile away. His words hit me like a sledgehammer. I looked down. Wait, I just saw DJ. Tell him the truth. Exactly. Just listen. The ranger comes there. You just show him the set of rules. Be like, hey, I found this note. I was following the rules. I don't know, man. This is my first day. Come on. That fool forgot the trapdoor rule. Yep. Okay. So his words hit me like a sledgehammer. I looked down at the bolt I was about to unlatch and pulled my hand back very slowly. Which direction are you coming from? I said. Southeast. I looked in that direction and sure enough, I could see headlights approaching. The radio sounded again, but with a slightly different voice. Tower, ignore the last transmission, it said. I'm already here. Let me in, please. I stared down at the trapdoor, as though it wanted to bite me. Tower, let me in, it said more insistently. I backed away as something began beating at the trapdoor with tremendous force. The boards shook with every impact. I stepped inside and locked the door, then barricaded it with my only loose piece of furniture, the chair. Tower 5, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is talking to you, but it isn't me. Do not open that door. Repeat, do not open that door. I backed into the bathroom with the flare gun in hand and locked the door. The pounding on the trapdoor became louder. I knew it wouldn't take much more of a beating. The whole room shook with every impact. I closed my eyes and prayed in earnest this time. And then my salvation came in the form of the engine sound of a pickup truck. I knew the real ranger was here. I listened as it came closer and then stopped. There was an awful silence for a moment, and then gunfire. Over and over. Multiple shots in rapid succession. Then there was a lull, followed by more shots. The pounding on the trapdoor had stopped as soon as the truck pulled up. The coast is clear, Ranger. You can open the door now, came a voice over the radio. I put my hand on the knob, smiling to go out and greet my savior in when I heard a weak transmission. Don't! Not me! Rasped. A heartbeat later, the screaming began. It was a gut-wrenching scream, of terrible suffering. I could hear it beneath me. All I could do was drop to the floor and crawl up in a ball as the screaming went on and on. I closed my eyes and tried not to imagine the poor ranger being ripped to shreds by God knows what. Soon the screams lessened in volume and intensity as though they were moving away. I rocked back and forth, hugging my knees until unconsciousness mercifully took me. I woke to strange voices calling my name. I opened my eyes and I was surrounded by people in blue uniform. I panicked and backed away from them as fast as I could until my back hit the wall. Calm down, one of them said. It's all right. I looked around the room like an animal that had been backed into a corner. I was ready to fight my way out. Are you injured? I said. My mind raced to remember where I was. I looked out the window and it was morning. The sun was shining and I could see blue clouds. Everything from last night came back to me in a rush. I looked around the room and saw nothing out of the ordinary. I'm not injured, I said to the EMT. Can you tell us what happened here? A ranger said from behind them. I looked over at the manual and that contained the list of rules, and for a heartbeat considered telling them to read them. Why wouldn't you? Why? What? That's my only question. Why? Just do it. That's what. Okay. No. Was all I said instead. Can I go home now? The ranger glared at me. Wanting answers and not getting them is frustrating. I know. Is he alright to drive? Ranger asked the EM. They gave me the once-over. BP, lungs, heart rate, and didn't find anything to be concerned about. I would say physically fine, the EMT said. The ranger sighed. Go ahead, said, but I'll want to talk to you tomorrow. I nodded and stood, gathered my things, and started toward the door. When I got to open the trapdoor, I hesitated, seeing it had been hacked open with an axe. I took a tentative first step, then another. Surviving the night as I had, only to fall down several flights of stairs would be quite ironic. As I made my way down, white-knuckling the railing the whole way down, I saw people busy at the bottom. They were picking up shell cases, gloves, and putting them into plastic bags. I could see spots of blood here and there, but no bodies, either human or animal. I saw the trail of blood as it disappeared into the woods. I stood on the bottom step for a long time, wondering if I was allowed to step onto the ground. I took the step and bolted for my car. I started it up and drove out of there as fast as I could. Just as I turned onto the gravel road, a deer walked out in front of me. I slammed on the brakes and slid to a stop where mere inches from hitting it. It didn't move, just stood there, staring at me. As I looked more closely, I could see blood on its nose and mouth. My heart skipped a beat. I saw a shred of a ranger's patch impaled on one of its antlers. Its eyes bored into mine as I slammed into reverse, then swerved around the deer, and broke every speed limit getting home. I called my boss and quit as soon as I got there. Then I packed and started looking for a job in the city. Maybe I can find a nice quiet warehouse to guard. But if it has a set of strange rules, I'm walking out. No questions asked. Yeah, also, why don't you, yeah, that one. Two, if it does have a set of rules, just immediately tell someone that, hey, there's this strange set of rules. What do I do? Yeah, no, I would just walk out. But anyway, so this story is titled, I was a park ranger stationed in a fire tower. It had a strange set of rules, and it was submitted by username horrorwriter1717. Yeah, and it was submitted to subreddit No Sleep. Fucking scary. Yeah, don't follow the rules. Don't. If you see strange rules, just follow the strange rules. You know, just do it. Just do it. Don't, you know. Don't be, you know, don't be hesitant about it. Just do it, because you're gonna die otherwise. Okay. Okay, so that was a good story. It was a good story. Now on to well, first onto my sip of water, because holy shit, my throat is on fire. Demon Taker was like animal mob. Oh, sorry. Also, like, I will, during this story, I will stop a couple of times. But in general, I'm gonna read the chat probably like before or after this. Because I get so invested. That was an interesting one. Yeah, I know. It was pretty good. Oh, wait, I have to stretch. Ooh. Oh boy. Oh, why am I so far? Suddenly my model just went like, whoop! Why not? Okay, wait, let me... Hi, thanks for the streams and keep up the great work, Sona. Wait, that's not the end! We're just like 2 stories in. There's still a couple of them. But yeah, my throat is on fire, so that's great. Okay. Let's do something else. Okay, this one is a little shorter. Looked like you fell back. Yeah, I was just like, whoop! This person was lucky to serve the night. I'm saying thanks for streams in general. Everything. Ah, okay. Or welcome. Very welcome. Again, you guys, if you're here in this stream, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like the content. If you please take a second, hit that like button. Set that notifications on. Turn them on. And yeah, subscribe. Did. If you didn't, oh well. I mean, if you don't like my accent, the door is... Oh, get out. I'm kidding. It. No, but no, not really. Like, get out. But, if you have complaints. Man, I'm so petty. So petty about that comment. Like the stream, yeah. And if you, if you like my content, like my voice, obviously, and you would like to hear more spooky stories or more, true crime content, true crime cases, you can check out my Patreon page. On my Patreon, I also bonus true crime streams or bonus spooky streams in general, and more for a price of a Starbucks coffee a month. You can get access to a couple of streams or quite a library of streams, additional streams. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you. Okay, let me continue. Next story. That was great, and now my earphones died. Oh no! Oh no. Sorry. I think your accent is nice. Thank you. I don't think they're scary, but I do find them very interesting. They help me stay up till 5 AM. Very cool. Well, some of them are like... Well, they are scary. Some of them are just like, oh, there's a plot twist, and it's, it's pretty... I get what you... Okay. Let's move on to... We have this urban legend in my city called the Wrong Way Man. Supposedly, you might see him standing on the side of the road when you're driving. Some say it's always when you're on your way home. I've seen pictures of the Wrong Way Man. They circulate among us by text message. They circulate among students, workers, friends, and family here. Oddly, I've never seen any of those pictures posted online. But I'm not sure if it's because of fear, because of those who have taken the pictures want to perpetuate the mystique of our local urban legend, or because of something else. I was pretty sure those pictures had been a hoax. Just someone, dressed up as the Wrong Way Man. Maybe it was the same person every time. As far as what the Wrong Way Man looks like, wears his tattered clothing backward, usually a flannel shirt and jeans. His painted, smiling face looks eerily realistic, until he turns to the side and you can see it's a smooth surface. It seems that he shaves his hair off. paints a face over the back of his head, and puts a shoulder-length wig that covers up his real face. Those who I've met who claim to have spotted the wrong way man say they waited a week before driving home, staying over at a friend's house or a hotel, and not even bothering to go home to pack a suitcase. I've also heard, though, that you need to wait a month. The common consensus seems to be if you see him while driving home, don't finish the drive home. Turn around, go somewhere else, and wait for at least a week. I thought it was a bunch of nonsense, until my date and I saw the wrong way man when we were going back to my house from the movies. It was Katie who spotted him. Slow down, said. I think I see that wrong way man told me about. Katie had only lived in my city for half a year, so one of the things that I had told her on my quest to share with her as many interesting things as I could had been our local urban legend about the wrong way man out there. Was it a coincidence that we had just been talking about him a few days before? I had never seen someone dressed as the wrong way man in person. Pictures, sure, but never in person. My foot was shaking as I eased up on the gas. It was dark, nearing midnight dark, and there were either no streetlights or they were off. My car's headlights lit him up. On the side of the road, he was facing us. Actually, he had his back to us. That painted face was facing us. The jeans and flannel shirt and wig were all turned our way as well. His arms and legs looked wrong. They were shoved down in his clothing in opposite way. I wanted to be amused, but I was alarmed. When we got to be about 10 feet away in my car, he turned his painted head towards us. Those painted eyes, realistic but forever held too wide, seemed to be staring right into mine. As we drove slowly by, I waved to him and laughed to try to ease some of the tension. He did not wave back. I looked at Kate. She was waving too, but she wasn't laughing. I glanced back in time to see the slick side of that person's shaved, painted head, and the optical illusion of a real face being there was shattered. Shattered, but somehow worse for it. Also, when I peered into the rearview mirror, as we increased our distance, I thought I saw something glinting beneath the shoulder-length wig before. Then he was gone, lost to the darkness. I picked up speed. He hadn't been walking, but somehow I was worried he would come after us too quickly. So, what do we do now? Katie said. Can't go to your home, or mine. I glanced at her, and soon we both started laughing. Well, I said, after tonight we'll be able to tell everyone around that we saw the wrong way man and went immediately home. I wonder who was pretending to be the wrong way man. I wonder why they were doing it. Do you think we should turn back around and try to talk to them? I'd rather we didn't, I said. They could be dangerous, but I'm sure it's just someone looking to keep the urban legend alive. It's your car, I said, but if it was mine... Alright, I said. We will turn back around. My grandpa used to say, if you're in doubt which turn to make, you can always take a U-turn until you figure things out. He used that as a metaphor for life. But as I did my U-turn, my heart was thrashing in my chest. We drove down the entirety of that dark street without seeing that person again. It was a couple of miles long in that direction, so there's no way they could have walked or run the distance so quickly. Katie and I decided that the person dressed as the wrong way man must have left the shoulder of the road for the surrounding woods. The idea of them hiding in the woods as we drove by again made me feel like I had spiders crawling over my flesh. We did another U-turn, and during that whole time, I kept glancing around in case that person jumped at us from out of nowhere. But soon, we were heading back in the direction of my house with no second look at the wrong way man. Katie and I tried to laugh it out, and we tried talking about other things, but both of us were pretty scared. Couldn't stop chatting about everything and nothing, or glancing out the windows or into side mirrors. We turned into the subdivision. Then we turned onto my street. And everything changed. As soon as we turned onto my street, we started to go backwards instead of forwards. "Did you put it in reverse?" Katie said. Her hand was gripping on my arm. It was as cold as ice. I stopped the car. Both of us were looking down. The car was in drive. I took my foot off the brake and put it into gas pedal again. Houses, familiar houses I saw every day when coming home, were moving away from us. "Maybe something's wrong with the car," I said. But when I tried driving forward again, I looked to the side and then in the rearview mirror. We were not moving. Not according to those views. In front of us, the houses receded every time I put my foot on the gas. But from the side and rear, it appeared that we were standing still. On my street, everything was well lit. There were tons of streetlights, so we couldn't argue it away as if it had anything to do with limited visibility. "Let's get out of here," Katie said. Her voice was almost a whisper. "Yeah," I said in a similar way. "But how are we going to leave?" "Put it in reverse." When I put my car in reverse and tried that, we actually moved forward. But to the side and rear, once again, we seemed to have not moved. Like we were caught just past the entrance to my neighborhood. It was when Katie and I had stopped the car and were debating getting out that we spotted someone coming towards us on the sidewalk. They were approaching us from the front of the vehicle, so I'm not sure how accurate the distance was. It seemed like they were already about 20 feet away. I don't know why it took me so long to realize this. Maybe it was because I didn't want to, but I recognized my neighbor by the back of his head and by his body shape, which was somewhat atypical. I had seen him often working in his garden while I was driving by. He was walking backwards towards us. When he got closer, he stopped. Then he began shouting. "Implech, implech," over and over again, standing stock still, his back to us. Only later would I realize he had been saying, "Help me," in reverse. I rolled down the window. "Mr. Nelson," I said, "what's the matter?" He stopped shouting. Now that my window was down, I could hear his body creak and snap. Blood poured out of fissures as the joints of his arms and legs changed drastically. When Mr. Nelson's head twisted all the way around towards us, I was sure that I saw the light go out of his eyes. Then, whatever had taken over Mr. Nelson made a first step forward with the new architecture of his body. Katie and I both began to scream at the first step. I rolled up the window as Mr. Nelson loped around on strange, inhuman legs. His kneecaps and elbows had become stretched and exaggerated from being reversed. I put my foot on the gas, with the car still in reverse, and through the front windows we seemed to be careening forward. Even though a glance out the sides or in the rear view showed us to still be stationary, he slammed into Mr. Nelson. Oh, poor Mr. Nelson! Come on! Hasn't he, suffered enough? Jesus! Not Mr. Nelson! Everyone's like, no! Blood splashed across the windshield. The car rose and fell as we went over his body. Wow! Holy shit! The fuck? Mr. Nelson, I'm sorry. To the sides and rear, there was no indication of the car rising and falling. I did not see a lump appear behind us. I kept my foot on the gas, still going forward in reverse. I saw a window of a neighbor's house shatter. A couple I barely recognized crawled out like baby spiders out of eggs, leaking blood and more blood as they scraped themselves against the shards in the window frame. I don't think it was that they didn't know how to open windows. When the wife paused in the window, she smiled. She intentionally rubbed her scalp against a particularly sharp-looking piece of glass. Meat and blood came away. I think I could see the white of her skull. Ew. Ew, ew. By then, her husband was already on the ground running towards us. I sped forward. Best moment to stutter. They and their house vanished in the sides and rear of the vehicle, which were again still stuck near the street entrance. More people were coming out of their homes. They came out all twisted and broken, damaging themselves further as they exited. They ran towards us on backwards legs, turning their backwards arms. Everything about them was the wrong way. For long, I found myself slamming on the brakes. "Keep going!" Katie yelled. "You're going to catch up with us!" Ahead, I saw my own driveway. Someone that looked like me, talking to another person with a painted face. Painted face nodded. Up and down, it nodded like a real face would do. Then, when I saw the wig shuffle and move seemingly on its own, I realized that the true face under the wig was talking, moving its lips, breathing. The wrong way man was talking to me or someone who looked like me. At the same time, Katie was reaching over me, trying desperately to put her foot on the gas. A couple of twisted pieces of bone and meat collided with the windshield. Faces with bunched up folds, neck leered at me out of glazed eyes. These were faces I should have recognized. Twisted arms continued to beat at the window, even though their eyes told me that no one was home. A spider's web of cracks spread across the windshield. Roofs cut blood. I slammed my foot on the gas while helping to steady Katie back into. We flung those two off. And right after we ran over an entire family in quick succession, I didn't have time to feel guilty. Yeah, it's like, out of my way! there's like the 5-year-old Timmy. Well, beep beep. Okay, never mind. Like, I'm moving on. Fuck you, Timmy. Should have thought about should have learned not to step onto the road when a car is coming. These were not my These were not my neighbors. These were not... Katie and I both began to change. I heard some of my bones break. Oh, hell no. I felt it a moment later. Like the reverse of lightning before thunder. Katie and I started screaming. Almost in unison. And about in the same tune. It was like a choir of pain and fear and pain had risen up with us as instruments. Keep your head back, I yelled as I strove to keep my head pinned against my seat. Don't let it twist around. No matter what happens to the rest of our bodies, we can't let it kill us. I know, Katie said. Just get this car out of there. Make a U-turn or something. Make a U-turn, I thought. What was it my grandpa said about life and how if you didn't know what to do, you could always make a U-turn? Still in reverse, yet still going forward. I wheeled the car screeching around. I didn't glance out the sides of our rear. I gunned it, heading back towards where we had come from. The wrong-way man waited for me at the juncture of my driveway and his painted mouth grinned forever. His painted eyes were too wide and incapable of blinking. We passed him and drove out of the neighborhood. Katie and I weren't out of the woods, though. I was able to get us to a nearby gas station before my legs and arms, which were partway reversed and leaking blood, completely gave out. Crawled out of the vehicle and onto the cold, hard concrete of the gas station. I blacked out almost at once, but Katie tells me he retained consciousness until the ambulance arrived. I don't envy her. We spent months in the hospital with broken bones and torn ligaments and muscle. I think the only thing that had saved us permanent damage might have been the seats of our vehicle resisting our changes. We told the doctors we had been in a car accident. They shook their heads at us and kept asking questions. I did go back home. Eventually. Both did. The reason I went home was because one of my neighbors that we had run over with my car came to the hospital to visit me. They seemed completely fine, as if nothing had happened and the wrong-way man had never changed them. But damage was done to my vehicle and to Katie and me, both physically and psychologically. And while our bodies are on the mend, I don't think we'll ever be the same. I feel the wrong way inside. Okay. That's it! Oh my god. Okay, that was... Now we know how Timmy died. Yeah. Fuck Timmy. Like, you know. Timmy should learn not to, you know, stand on the road when a car is, like, speeding towards him. And also RIP Mr. Nelson. And okay, so this story was... Let me see. Okay, so this is the story. If you see this man on the side of the road, don't drive home. So that is by the user named Rick the Intern. Rick, that was a great story. I hope you, you know, you will evolve from that internship and you will get a full job. And, like wherever you're wherever you're interning at. So little Timmy's still alive? I guess so. Like, little Timmy hopefully learned his lesson. after being run over by a car once. Okay, I was planning to read a little more stories, but honestly, my throat is kind of on fire. So I think it's good to end it here today. But I will definitely continue with more stories next week. Possibly, I might actually change this week's true crime stream on Patreon into scary story stream. So if you guys are okay with that, like I'm just gonna continue with some more stories that I planned for today in Patreon stream. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Stay safe out there. Always. If you see the wrong way man, step on it and do that U-turn and just fall out of there. Part 2? No part 2. It's just, yeah. It's just it. It's just this. That's it. The end. I hope you guys liked today's video. I liked it. I actually really liked the story, like the Japan story, the Aokigahara forest story. That was very, very interesting. I will do my best to like fix my microphone. I think it's like now it's okay, but I suppose it might be a little quiet for some. Like definitely my videos are better watched with phones on. Running down. Yeah, run down the. Oh, I never thought about it, but yeah, like you know. You can take that U-turn. You can do that U-turn, just like U-turn right into the wrong way man. Just run him over and go home. That's it. That's it. Okay, so again, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Always lock your doors and windows. Don't go into Aokigahara forest, you know, at night because fucking scary. Follow the rules. Follow a weird set of rules if you are in a, you know, fire tower in the middle of the forest at night. Just do what the damn weird, creepy rules tell you to. Just, you know, just do it. Don't question it. It sounds fine now. Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay. So, what else do I have? Oh yeah, this week, I believe tomorrow there's gonna be a stream, the new series, That Time When, which is a historical stream that I, you know, in which I talk about like ridiculous incidents in history here on YouTube. And this time I'm gonna be talking about that time when the nuns started meowing. Oh, basically mass hysteria case. But it was very interesting, so I'm just gonna talk about it tomorrow. Yeah, and then you know, another spooky stream on Patreon. Possibly instead of the true crime one, I'm just gonna do scary stories because I have a few week. You guys will too. Okay, that's about it. Thank you so much. Until